Welcome back to Tiny Blue Games. My name is, of course, Csaw or Chris, and today we're talking about Boo. Did I get ya? No. But we're talking about Halloween in 2023. As per usual, we will be featuring some MMOs in this video. In the background, you'll see me doing some of my favorite Halloween activities in a lot of the different MMOs. Mostly the MMOs that I've been playing a lot in the last, I don't know, months. I don't know. I tend to gravitate to certain games for a while and get sunk into them and then drift to other ones. I've talked a lot about it on this channel for the last few years, but I'm very into having multiple MMOs that I play. I think it's one of the most healthy attitudes you can have towards MMOs these days, particularly because each game kind of does something specific very, very well. And if that wasn't the case, they probably would not end up doing well because they kind of have their section of the market that they carve out. At least that's my thought on it. And with having a lot of different games that I'm playing, it kind of lets me scratch that itch in different ways. But one of the cool things that I get by doing this as well is seeing how each game treats holidays very differently. And it's something we've made videos about quite a few times over the last little bit. So this isn't going to be a deep dive into this, but it's just going to feature some of my favorite ones from this year. I'm also doing the voiceover after having recorded all these throughout the week, so let's see if I can actually go ahead and remember all of the different games that I played. But most notably, I've been playing a lot of classic World of Warcraft on the hardcore server. It's not something I've chosen really to make a bunch of videos about, just because I already find the journey pretty stressful, and I know as soon as I start recording, that's when I will die again. But yeah, I've really been enjoying classic hardcore. I never played classic WoW. I actually joined like at the very end of Wrath of the Lich King, so I'm very much someone who's more familiar with modern WoW. Although I'd say the very end of Wrath was kind of like part of the classic era in some ways. That said, I've never played vanilla, and it's a heck of a different game. It took a long time to understand how difficult just fighting one monster that's like your level or a couple levels higher than you actually seems in classic, whereas retail, when you're leveling, you don't care, you're flying around. And it's really actually awoken my love for World of Warcraft, because for those of you who don't know, I do really like grindy games. Obviously, there's a point in a time where the grind becomes too much, but I grew up loving MapleStory, old school MapleStory that had a tremendous grind to it. And it's just been really fun to kind of do something that is modern, and I'm doing air quotes here because it's actually a game from way back when, but it's a game that people are actively streaming and talking about and stuff like that that's quite grindy and kind of old school, and I'm having fun. Anyways, Halloween-wise, there's actually not a ton to do in it, but you do get to see some Halloween decorations at pretty much all of the inns throughout the world, which is really cool. And then you get to do a trick-or-treat thing where you ask the innkeeper for trick-or-treat, and you get a costume or something like that, which is kind of cool. What I didn't realize right away is it actually replaces your helmet slot, though. I thought it would just be like, equipped over your helmet like a costume of some sort. But no, what was I, like 41 at the time? My 41 pally. I was like, why is my health so low? And I noticed my helmet had been replaced by this costume item, and I had actually vendored the helmet that I was wearing, which cost me a few gold. So there you go. There's the story. Flipping back over to Final Fantasy XIV, which is the other game that's been occupying a lot of my time. It's very classic Final Fantasy. There's a nice story to it. I think that's the one thing that they do that no other game really does, is has a new story for the event every single year that you're kind of looking forward to. And what's really nice about it, after having played through, I think, all of the different holidays throughout the years, is that it's like a half-hour quest. Like, they've got the perfect little introductory thing for you to do if you want some holiday spirit, if you want the the rewards or whatever they are that year. You know exactly what you're expecting, and I think that's such a really nice thing with MMOs, when you can expect something, and it pairs so well with holidays because even in the spookiest of holidays, we go to these holidays to try and feel comfort, right? It's about, something familiar with a little bit of a different twist this year. And I'd say the Halloween or All Saints Week story in Final Fantasy really hit the mark with that. It was kind of fun because you were, helping people scare other people, which is, very Halloween-y. And it was really interactive, which I think is really fun, where you have to pay enough attention, but it's not also, such a test that it's frustrating or anything like that. Pretty much as long as you're reading through it and enjoying the content, you're going to fly through it. They also had some tech where the main character, the clown, followed you around, which I'm trying to think of if a holiday or even quests for that matter really do that often. And I don't think so. So it was kind of cool to see. I don't know if that is new tech or if I've just been oblivious to it, but it was really cool to see that as well, just have someone follow around. And then the other thing that stands out is just how many dang people are doing the event. One of the nice things in Final Fantasy is that the events happen in the main cities in these very specific areas, and you see just floods of people, certainly on, this is one of the first few days you can do it, floods of people by the NPCs doing it. It really makes it feel like a big, populous MMO, which is really cool. Whereas some of the other games that we're going to talk about in a second here, they're not nearly as focused in one area, I'd say. Which brings us maybe to Retail World of Warcraft. I've been playing a little bit of Retail WoW, but I will admit that I'm kind of waiting for the next season to start. So it's kind of been on the back burner, but one of the things you can do is fight the headless horseman. And this year in particular, there was actually a hard mode added to the headless horseman, which it's not that hard, but it is much, much harder than just the fight that was essentially nothing before. So, you actually have to pay attention, you have to move out of stuff, you have to move to stuff, you have to heal a bit. So kind of fun that way. And it does increase your chances of getting the rewards from this fight. Not that I've actually received any, but it was fun to do. So always a pretty easy activity to jump into. And then the last one that I wanted to chat about is, to me, the winner of Halloween and the winner of a lot of MMO events, Guild Wars 2. It's hard to beat. Pretty much every year I have to take a shot at the clock tower. This year, and I have no idea if I've just missed it like every other year, I saw the option to do the clock tower that was not timed. And I was like, that's interesting. So you go into it and it's essentially just a jump puzzle now, right? It's the clock tower, but it's frozen in place. So if you fall off, you can kind of glide back down and start doing your jump puzzle again. And this was so much fun. I spent like 20 minutes in it. I still failed miserably lots and lots of times, but it enabled me to really take my time and explore the different jumps and make my way to the top, which was really fun. And I went in, did it for 20-ish minutes, maybe it was longer than that, I haven't actually looked at the footage, and got to the top. Whereas a lot of other years, some years I go in there and I get quite lucky and I jump to the top doing the race pretty quickly, but sometimes I do the race and I do the same portion of the clock tower like 100 times, and then I'm like, no, it's not happening this year. So it was kind of fun to actually go in and really just see it to completion and spend a lot more time in kind of the tricky parts of the clock tower as opposed to the bottom. But yeah, those were the main in-game Halloween activities I did this year. I'm not gonna lie, October's been like a blur for me. I was away for a while, for like a week. And because of that, essentially work has been absolutely crazy on either end of my break. And I don't know. I don't know if other people's jobs are like this. I feel like it's just a part of being an adult. But when you miss work, even on holidays and stuff like that, that, everyone's off, it just feels like there's less time to do the things that have to be done anyways. So you come to kind of resent the time that you were away, which is unfortunate because it should be restful. But if the same things have to get done either way, it's almost, I sometimes get to this point where I'm like, would it have just been better if I was there and I could just take normal weekends? But then again, you'd never do anything super exciting and go places and do stuff. So it's a tough trade-off. It's, I guess, being an adult. All this to say, it's been a busy October. I'm happy to wind down with some Halloween fun in-game. I do have some Halloween parties that I'm going to at the end of the month, which should be a lot of fun too. And then we're into the last bit of the year, which is crazy. Yeah, I don't know. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you've really enjoyed this video. I know I haven't made a ton of videos this year. It's been a lot of live streams, and then all of a sudden I've done 2 back-to-back videos. Hopefully we will be back to doing a live stream and continuing the Shadowbringers story soon. I am excited to see how it progresses, as I'm sure you are as well. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.